Hi, everyone. We are continuing to interview our mission partners that we are blessed to be able to support. And today we have with us John Batchelder, the executive director at Ross Point Camp. And John is a good friend, and I'm excited to be able to talk with you, John, just to see you. So, tell us a bit about yourself. There's folks that are part of our church, a lot of folks that know you, but many maybe who don't. So tell us about yourself and a bit about the ministry you serve in.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I grew up in Utah at Clearfield Community Church, which is an American Baptist church, and I always talk about going to like the senior high fellowships, and if there were 35 of us there, that means every senior high American Baptist in Utah was there because it was just such a small thing. There are 7 churches, and we were associated with Camp Utah, and I grew up attending Camp Utah. I never served as a counselor or anything, but that's kind of where my camping initiation began. And then after college or after high school, 1 year of college, I went into a Christian drama group. And during that drama group, I met Faye, and then we traveled together for a while. And then back in 1980, we both felt a call into camping ministry. And we were traveling in Florida, and we kind of just the same time said, I
And
felt a
Faye is your
call.
wife, for anybody who doesn't know. Sorry,
Yeah,
I think most
yeah,
everybody knows. Okay,
I think so. But yeah, it's
okay,
unusual that they wouldn't know her or they might know me. There's
yeah,
not
that
many
is unusual,
people.
but yeah, true.
Um, so we felt called into it, and then turned out they were hiring at Camp Utah, and I applied and was hired, and that's when our camping ministry started back in 1982.
Mm.
And then we served there for a number of years, went to Pennsylvania, then Ohio, and had a break from camping for about 4 years while we were in Oregon, and felt the call again to, we kept looking that whole time for camping opportunities. It seemed like that's where we wanted to be. But that's when we became aware of the opening at Ross Point when Paul retired. And I applied for that and was hired and started January 1st, 2001. So
Wow,
we have been here since then. And
23 plus years, huh? Yeah.
yeah, it's just going well. And it's been a really good fit. The things I like during those times that we were out of camping, we kind of put together a list of things that would be important for us as far as ministry and focus on the gospel and communicating with youth and adults, and having the ability to host various types of groups. It just all seemed to come together right here. And in some respects, Ross Point is kind of a small camp, but in other respects, we're kind of right in the mix of like the national average that the Christian Camp and Conference Association tells us is that average group size is 70. And we're right about that.
Mm.
So most of our groups are 60, 70, and we have the ability oftentimes to do 2 or 3 of those at the same time, which again is a thing that I really enjoy about. We're not limited to its size. Since we added the motel room, Paul did that. That has helped with our non-summer ministry, and primarily that is adults, although we do have youth. And then we've been able to add a couple of buildings in the time I've been here, which allows us to have some small groups. We'll have 150
Mm.
in one group and we'll have 4 in another. That to me is an amazing thing that we can serve so many different people at the same time.
How would you describe Ross Point to someone who is new to it or hasn't been there, both in where it is, what it is, and its mission? How, if you were trying to describe to someone brand new, how would you describe it?
Our intent is to introduce people to Jesus and help them grow in their faith. And even people that come here for a non-religious event, that's still our hope. And
Mm.
so a lot of that we can speak directly about with groups, and there's other things that it's just by the hospitality and service and trying to be welcoming to people who are here and serve them as best that we can, while still staying true to what the gospel calls us to do, and that's to love everyone, to serve everyone, and help each one of us grow closer to be like Jesus every day.
Mm. Yeah.
And then the facilities
Yeah.
we have 90 beds in motel room style, and then we have 120 in cabin style, so we can get uh, different cost structure and different preferences for that. And that makes it pretty amazing. And the fact that we're just a mile from the freeway, it's fairly simple to get to, but yet when you get onto the camp property, it's very isolated,
Hmm.
and it doesn't take you very long to forget you're just this close to everything. So we have certainly been blessed with an amazing location, and I always smile when somebody comes on. I say, it's like I turned into the driveway and I started driving down the road and it just felt a release. And I was
Mm.
like, well, that's because it's God's sanctuary and his presence is here. And it's just a refreshing place to be.
Yeah, I 100% agree on the beautiful Spokane River and the facilities. John, you've done a wonderful job building them up and maintaining them, improving them. Yeah, what excites you? You've been talking about this a bit, but what excites you the most about the ministry you serve in? Is there a particular area of it, or?
As far as like responsibilities and tasks, I just love the variety. Um, I can spend a bunch of time doing some budgeting and finance and accounting, and then I can go out and climb trees. And then if I don't like the tree or it's dying, we can cut it down. And then we'll haul it off and then we'll burn it, we'll split it up and all that kind of stuff. So, and then people come in and there's the opportunity to host and to get acquainted with people. And the thing about seeing often groups that come once a year, so a year goes by and you see them again, but it's like you just saw them recently. And so I like the ability to catch up with that. And things like the leadership uh, conference that Charles has put on over a number of years, to get to see pastors regularly. And they come to this environment and we get a chance to, again, catch up with ministries and what's going on and hear what's happening around the region. And we want to be a real asset to the region. And I know my personal focus and the board focus is that we're not the church for people here. We don't want people to only have a once a year experience with God.
Mhm.
We want to supplement that, and we want to help get people back into churches, because that's where the real life engaging ministry happens on an ongoing basis in that small community of a local church. So we don't want to be a church for people. We want to be an assisting body of ministry.
That's cool. Yeah. And I know those opportunities to draw away, like you were saying, just a mile off the freeway, but you get in there and there's release. And I got to go to a bunch of youth retreats and I was kid camps and then serve and I don't know, there's just an opportunity to allow God to have space in your life because you're in a special space, right? I mean, God's all around us all the time, but there's something about setting some time and space apart where we actually yield to Him working in our life. And Ross Point's one of those places that's been set apart so that we can actually focus.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then that it serves the church well. You've been a blessing to our local church, and I don't know how many. I know there's kids up a recent weekend for a youth retreat, and there'll be some women coming up for a women's retreat, and there'll be a couple dozen, hopefully more kids at camp, from our area, and hopefully a bunch of other churches, and just some of those people are going to have a punctuated experience or maybe a first time experience with the Lord that will lead into an ongoing relationship and a connection to a local church. And I just think you've done a really, really good job in
Thank
that.
you.
So, um, well, a couple of fun personal questions that we're asking everybody we do our profiles on here is, do you have a favorite Bible character? I don't know if the pastors are supposed to ask that, but is there a Bible character right now in your life that particularly inspires you, challenges you, or that God has elevated in your life? And tell us a bit about that.
Every once in a while, I think about who I want to meet. And so you think about those characters, and there's the obvious people like Paul and Peter and John and James. Then I think about people like the unnamed woman who put in 2 copper coins,
Mm,
who was that committed, said, you know what, I'm trusting God and I'm going to put in everything I have to live on. And she was commended for that. And I'm sure God blessed her and took care of her. And then the lady who was married for a few years and then it says she spent the rest of her life up to 84 just in the temple praying regularly.
mm,
I mean, what committed people whose lives are totally immersed in a relationship with Jesus? And then it's interesting, it's not a biblical character, but I keep thinking about the Mercy Me song, I Can Only Imagine. It talks about when you first meet Jesus, are you going to stand up and sing? You're going to run, you're going to hug, or to knees, you're going to fall. Personally, I think I'm going to fall flat on my face because it's just going to
mm.
be so amazing to meet our Lord. And the fact that he's been so gracious, so merciful, so loving. That's going to be a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, awesome. Good answers. That was fun. And just for fun, we're asking everybody if you had to choose one treat the rest of your life, ice cream or chips, what would you choose? Why? What flavor?
I would pick Cool Ranch Doritos with sharp cheddar cheese and Mrs. Renfro's peach salsa.
All right, very specific. So you got that. All right, not an ice. Well, do you like ice cream, but just not as much as?
I do, but if I was going ice cream, I usually pick something like the mint chocolate chip.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I like a good mint chocolate chip. All right, well, this has been fun, John. Thank you for your ministry, and we're praying always for you and for Ross Point and for the work you do there year round. It's a year-round facility and has wonderful camps and programs, both that they do or that they partner with churches to do, and then all kinds of groups that come there. So your witness reaches all kinds of groups, including we didn't mention this, but WSU sometimes uses your facilities up there, right? And
Yes.
that's close to where we are. So
There's several different groups from WSU that come up annually.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So all kinds of groups again, and your hospitality of you and your staff is wonderful. So, John, have a blessed day, and we'll see you soon, one way or the other.
All right. Bless you, my friend.